Are the Baltimore Ravens planning to let Ronnie Stanley walk in free agency and move Roger Rosengarten from right tackle to left tackle? I think they might. Let's talk about it.
Ravens flock rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So today we're discussing whether the Ravens are about to let Ronnie Stanley walk in free agency and move Roger Rosengarten from right tackle to left tackle.
Rosengarten, am I getting that right? Rosengarten, he comes in the game, and I'm like, holy shit, is he blocking Max Crosby a little bit? This isn't one of those possessions where they're just running the ball and Max doesn't get any opportunities. Like, this kid's setting out and he's dancing with Max Crosby. What I saw was a guy who's ready to play. He's ready for the big show.
What did you see from Roger Rosengarten? First of all, as an NFL player, but is he someone that you could see moving to the other side if Ronnie isn't back? And just what you thought of him as a rookie?
Well, he's played both sides of that. You know, he's played left and right. I mean, this year it's a very hard thing to come in as an offensive lineman as a rookie and play well. And Roger, honestly, just got better and better and better and better. Mature guy beyond his years. I think a year in the weight room is going to really serve him well, as it will all of our guys. But I think that we were I can speak for myself and say I was very happy with what Roger did. It's a very tough position to play as a young player. I think his future is very bright, as are the guys that he played with on the offensive line this year. And we're excited to see what he looks like next year.
Ronnie Stanley is projected by PFF to make $20 million per season. He's projected to sign a 2-year deal worth $40 million. Right now, the Ravens have just under $6 million in cap room. Now, I know they plan to restructure Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, possibly extend Mark Andrews and Marlon Humphrey to create and move some money around so that they can really add more money to this cap situation, because obviously less than $6 million is not going to get you very far. We probably won't even have enough to sign the draft picks that we're going to have. So we got to create money, there's no doubt. But can we afford, or is it smart, to pay Ronnie Stanley $20 million a season? Now, I love Ronnie Stanley. This is not a Ronnie's not worth it video. I love Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie has gave us incredible years as a Baltimore Raven. Also had some painful injury years that we had to go through. But regardless, Ronnie Stanley was a great draft pick and has had a very, very good and successful Baltimore Ravens career. There's no doubt about that. But this is about money. This is about what's best for the Baltimore Ravens moving forward. And we need to make the offensive line stronger. So in that case, I'm very for bringing Ronnie Stanley back because I think he keeps our offensive line very strong. It doesn't put a lot of pressure on us to have to draft the replacement this year at tackle or anything like that. But it does kind of kick the can down the road a little bit, and it puts us in a really bad cap position and kind of blocks all of our freedom to explore when you got to pay Ronnie potentially $20 million a year. Now, Ronnie Stanley is about to turn 31. He's had a career, at least in the last chunk of years, that have been filled with injuries. Outside of last year, he had a huge bounce back year last year and got voted into the Pro Bowl as a replacement. And Ronnie Stanley had a great year for the Baltimore Ravens. And we already gave Ronnie a mega deal once. There's a lot of risk in that, as we learned. You know, we gave Ronnie a huge contract, and basically, as soon as he signed it, he started getting hurt up until this season. So do you give him another few years, making $20 million a year or around that, and just hope he stays healthy? Or do you go younger, which Eric DeCosta has spoken a lot about this year, last year, especially with the offensive line. He even said in the end of the year press conference this year that it was a tough call to go younger on the offensive line last year, but he thinks it really worked out. And Roger has experience in both tackle spots and had an incredible rookie year, continued to get better. I could 100% see the Baltimore Ravens moving Roger Rosengarten to left tackle, letting Ronnie Stanley walk in free agency and sign with another team, potentially re-signing Patrick McCary who can kind of be that sixth man again and play any spot, because I don't think he's going to play left guard. I do not think McCary's going to be our starting left guard. He's also a pending free agent. But if we let Ronnie walk, I think we could sign McCary to a much, much smaller deal and kind of put him back into that role that he was in for most of his career with the Ravens. And that's if any of the guards or tackles get hurt, McCary can kind of step in and fill that void pretty well. And I love him in that position. I really have always called him the sixth man of the offensive line. You know, I think he's that first off the bench piece that really provides a lot of value for any spots that get injured. But then that does create a void at left guard. I think we have a void at left guard. Whether Voorhees is the option there or not, that really depends on whether he takes a leap this offseason and gets a lot more consistent. I think he has potential. I do think that Falele is probably going to get another chance at right guard and have another offseason of development, and he hasn't played a ton of football. So we saw Falele get better last year. Am I thrilled with Falele starting at right guard next season? I'm not there yet. I'm not fully confident in that move, but I think that's the way the Ravens are going. I think Falele is going to be the right guard again, and I'm just hoping he takes a big leap, and I think it's very possible. I mean, he's got a huge frame. He got better throughout this season, and I think it's very, very possible that Falele takes a leap and becomes an even better guard than he was this season, and therefore can become the Ravens' right guard. Obviously, we got Tyler Linderbaum at center. We would have Roger Rosengarten at left tackle and kind of be the new franchise left tackle for years and years to come. So then we would just need a right tackle. We could move McCary to right tackle, but I'd rather go draft in the first or second round another starting right tackle, and hopefully they're as good as Roger Rosengarten was. You know, if you find another starting tackle early in the draft that you can have here, you can really develop a young offensive line core that is here, that is cheap, that has a ton of potential, that has a ton of upside, and they're going to be the Ravens offensive line for years and years to come and only continue to get better. That does sound like a good move, and it saves the Ravens a ton of money, because paying Ronnie Stanley $20 million a year is going to create some sacrifices for us. We're not going to be able to go out and spend much in free agency. We're going to be pretty cap restricted, which we already are, but we have to go then clear money on restructures, and then we're not going to have as many options to restructure. So if you're paying Ronnie 20, you know, you got to clear like 40 million this offseason just to pay Ronnie 20. And I know if you had a longer deal, you can spread that cap hit out or whatever, but regardless, Ronnie Stanley is going to make some good money. He put in an incredible year this year. He deserves to get paid. But reading between the lines at that end of the year presser, Eric DeCosta was very non-committal on Ronnie Stanley, and he was not that way with everybody. They asked him about Mark, about Derek, about Marlon, and I know they got 1 year left, but he was welcoming all of them back, was excited to be here for a long time. Even a guy like Patrick Ricard, who is an unrestricted free agent, Eric DeCosta was like, yeah, both sides are very interested. We'd love to have him back. When he was asked about Ronnie, it was like, we'll see. We'll have to talk. We haven't talked yet. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if the numbers work out. He was very non-committal on bringing Ronnie back, and I get it. It's a huge decision. It is a huge decision because $20 million a year, or even around that, I mean, let's say he gets 17 or 18, whatever it ends up being, it's a huge number. And the Ravens don't have a lot of money. We got to sign Tyler Linderbaum. We got to sign Kyle Hamilton. We got Lamar's contract ballooning. We got Roquan Smith's contract that's huge. You know, you're going to have to do a ton of restructures and extensions this offseason as is to create money just to survive this offseason. Can you afford to bring Ronnie back on a huge deal? They can make the numbers work, and I think in the short term, maybe this year and next year, that might be more beneficial for the Ravens offensive line. But I think the Ravens are thinking this year and a little bit more long term. How can we extend this Lamar Jackson championship window? And I think that's by continuing to go with a young offensive line, letting the guys that you gave a chance to last year get even better. You know, Roger Rosengarten's going to get better. Falele is going to get better. These are ascending players. Even Linderbaum's still getting better. You know, we'll see what happens with Voorhees. I think left guard and right tackle would be the main places that you would need to draft guys and try to fill that void. If you moved Roger to left tackle, you would need to go get a right tackle, but we just saw that we're capable of doing that. We got Roger Rosengarten in the second round. You know, if we draft a first or second round tackle and move that tackle to right tackle, now you move Roger to left, I think you have a very young core that is just only ascending. And there might be some consequences with that, as in more early season growing pains where we don't have the strongest offensive line because they're very young. But I think those other guys are going to take a leap from last year. I don't think it'll be quite as bad as last year. We had a lot of first timers basically starting on the offensive line last year. Now you would only have maybe one. If that right tackle might be a first timer, maybe we have a rookie right tackle that we play there, or maybe we play McCary at right tackle for a couple weeks and we have a rotation like we did last year until that new right tackle that we draft is ready. We did that with Roger last year, but not paying Ronnie and going with a young offensive line gives you a ton of financial freedom. It does not put us in a cap bind, and we have a lot of young players that are only going to ascend. You don't have an aging player. Ronnie Stanley's play is not going to get better. You don't get better at 31, 32, 33 usually. And he's got a lot of injury concerns. So as much as I love Ronnie, as much as in the short term, like next year, I do kind of want Ronnie still here, I totally understand. And I think that the move could be to move Roger to left tackle and let Ronnie walk in free agency and then attack early in the draft to get your new right tackle. And now you got blossoming young franchise tackles for years and years to come on cheap deals. That seems to be what makes the most sense. But let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you as always for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.